I can't believe it! I'm finally talking about this game again!
Watch your step, boy. There are giant crocodiles in those waters. Crocodiles?
A croc's favorite meal is witches.
All right, onward and inward. Everyone but Magilu, tread carefully.
Some assassin's crew we are.
You said it.
Now that's comedy.
So there comes a time when you find a game that just resonates with you deeply on a level you don't really understand. As the months go on, you always think about it, the characters, the story, and that is why I will now talk about Bob the Builder Festival of Fun again. Okay, so yes, I made a Tales of Berseria review way back, and you can check it out if you want. It's probably one of my all-time favorite videos, and even though I said a lot on it, I just could not stop thinking about the game, and hence why we have this part 2. I mean, it didn't help that everywhere I looked, I kept seeing this game.
Bruh, this ain't even subtle.
And I mean, a lot of people in the comments could tell I kept mentioning it at every single chance I got. So Tales of Berseria is a JRPG that blew me away with how the story was presented. It has a whole section at the start where you play as Velvet, who is incredibly heartwarming and cheerful, caring for her brother, until her adoptive dad comes in to sacrifice the brother to the demons to make himself the pope of the country, while the demons latch onto Velvet's arm and he imprisons her for years till she breaks out with some idiot seeking only revenge. Well, yes, the game goes into it more detail, but that's the gist of it. I think it was such a strong start to a game. To see all this and how it affected the main characters, the opening plus the other big feature really helped this game stand out to me, and that was the customization. As you can change outfits and they show up in all the cutscenes, but also you can rotate or resize the accessories to make things like... But no, seriously, I feel that doing this adds so much more depth and value to the game. As yes, it's hilarious seeing these in story cutscenes, but at a time, it's personal. This is how your party looks like, and only in your playthrough, and I think it helps build the attachment you have for the characters. Now back to the story that I love so much, and yes, there'll be mild spoilers here. Don't worry, I'll still put a big spoiler warning before we get to the end game, because I want to talk about the ending, as I think it's one of the most unique ones out there for a JRPG. So first, a few little reminders on the cast. Velvet is seeking revenge for her brother's death at the hands of the new Pope Arthur. Magilu is a weirdo
Magilu?
who joins our team and is extremely mysterious, and this thing is her persona stand.
Hello again?
Rokuro is the honourable samurai character, who still won't use the blade he's carrying for whatever reason. Aizen is the cursed flip a coin heads or tail pirate leader, who's also best boy. Laphicet is the Malakim we stole from the sibling lover commander in the church, and named him after our dead brother because he really does look like him. No, Velvet isn't a crazy sister, what are you talking about? And finally, Eleanor.
Oh hey, the crybaby. The crybaby exorcist?
I wasn't trying!
The want to do good in the church soldier, but finding herself a bit disillusioned after we exposed that they were hiding a literal giant griffin in their basement who likes to eat people. This is where we last left the gang, as they now gather their strength to actually fight Arthur and help Velvet get her revenge, although most of them are doing it for their own reasons.
No escape!
So this is the shepherd's style.
Boy howdy, are we dead?
Arthur, however, seems a bit overpowered as he draws upon the super powerful Malak called Innominat, and despite cheating by constantly having medic Laphicet heal us, Arthur brings in the head honchos.
Oh no!
Teresa tries to order her stolen Malakim, but Laphicet goes, lol, no you, and shows us some incredible power, tearing open space. Okay, yeah, sure, in we go. Whoops, not you, Eleanor. Oh no, don't shove your balls in here, old man. Okay, maybe I worded that a bit wrong. So Velvet gets some more crazy dreams about Ceres, then wakes up in this blue cavern place. She finds Laphicet still alive but incredibly sick, and thus begins the prologue to Death Stranding. After wandering around, we meet Aizen, who says that this might be an earth pulse, or ley lines, which are common in JRPGs. They are said to be lines that run through the world where great magical power flows. Trust me, a lot of JRPGs do refer to these in some form. But somehow we are inside one, with Laphicet being our only way out. Except he looks like he might turn into a demon at any point with the amount of power he used. Eleanor then sneakily appears going, hey, you know, if I offer my pure body as a vessel to house him, he will not turn into a demon. So like, hand him over, pretty please?
So we just need your body with us, not your legs.
God, I missed edgy Velvet so much.
Ooh, you've got spunk. I like that.
Not one step closer! I'll kill myself before you lay a hand on me. The Moloch will become a demon, and you'll be stuck here forever.
Oh. So the two let Eleanor take control of Laphicet, being his new master, while we cut to Margilu and Rokuro.
How the hell did we end up here?
Eleanor, with her new powers, transports them towards these two goofballs, but runs off with her prize. Yes, I knew I should have never trusted that girl. So we make our way out of the long cave to find Eleanor, not running off like we thought. She accepts a deal that if we defeat her in battle, she will follow our orders, but if we lose, she gets to kill us. Also, I want to point out how cool it is that most battles start seamlessly from the cutscenes. I know other games got praise for it, but I never saw much discussion on that for this game. We easily win and trip her up. She starts to cry at how bad of a church knight she is. No, seriously, she won't stop crying, but she agrees to our terms.
I will follow your orders. To the day I die! Don't! My body, I can't move!
Holy moly, just calm down. Thank you, Laphicet, for stopping her. So Eleanor is now in our party. Yay! While we wait for her to recover, Laphicet and Velvet bond a little, showing that she does not think of him as a tool like before. Margilu, however,
I'm just looking to come out on top.
Laphicet then brings up a book he stole from that holy place with the griffin, and Margilu says that one of her magic friends could decipher it, so that's where we should head next. However, Eleanor wakes up, cries some more, and tries to off herself again. But Melchior's balls he threw into the portal, this fat evil dude, summons her. Think of it like a magical voice call feature. Arthur calls out for her saying, "Oi mate, you have that super powerful Moloch. Great, you're now my most prized soldier. Only if you can trick them to bring him back for me." Eleanor, who is desperate for acceptance in the church, agrees, but I mean a giant floating orb isn't gonna go unnoticed. So back to the original plan to decipher the book, which may hold a key to defeat Inominat, which then may help Velvet in taking down Arthur.
Beware a maiden's tears, boy, and guard yourself well. That's my advice to you.
Beware tears and guard myself.
Don't put any weird ideas into Laphicet's head, you two.
They're just facts.
If you fill his head with any more garbage, I'm eating both of you.
Yes, ma'am. Yikes.
Now, so to not keep this video too long, since we are going for the ending, the game does throw out stuff about the characters like Aizen, Margilu, and Rokuro, with the latter, as an honorable samurai, his only goal is to defeat his brother in sword combat no matter what. The brother also happens to be one of Arthur's right-hand men, so I guess it works out nicely with him being with us. This leads us through an extremely long cave and involves a blacksmith, a fat cat, and lots of scenes where I could never see Rokuro's facial expressions. Maybe covering it with a dolphin was a bad idea. And with Aizen, it's a lot about pirates and Melchior, and Margilu is also about that fat dude. But I won't spoil anything about their characters, just know that they all help Velvet because her goal helps their own needs. However, while sailing to Margilu's friend's place, the crew all fall sick to the dreaded common cold. I mean, they are stuck on a pirate ship in a fantasy land, of course this is deadly. So the group makes a pit stop to get some medicine, but you know how it is in JRPGs. We ain't gonna get it cheap, as we first had to defeat a monster near the town. However, the closer we get, it seems like the Abbey is actually guarding it for some reason. But taking care of them, the closer we get, the group find the healing plant they need.
It's flower picking time.
I told you these things were hard on the eyes. I mean, who puts those colors together?
So it turns out, the monster is a giant bug, but we easily defeat it, turning it into this tiny beetle. However, do note that the monster was trapped into the same sort of chains as the griffin from earlier. Interesting. And then on the way back we meet a Persona 3 character, who is part of Aizen's backstory, and also in Tales of Zestiness, as a really popular character with fans of that game. Gee, I wonder why.
I can see you now.
All you need to know is that he is hunting for the Melchior dude, and there involves some shenanigans of Melchior using some crazy magic powers, as he's a really powerful mage. We then make the healing potion called Salatoma, and give it to the sick people.
What does that mean?
Velvet can't taste anything aside from blood.
What? Is that because she's a demon? I'm aware of one other flavor. Margilu, here's your dose of Salatoma.
No!
Get back here!
Don't! Keep that salad away from...
I see.
So now we finally head to the place where Magilu's friend is, but no one seems to know where she lives, and exploring we go. Yeah, I think after snowy areas, I really like these beach places. Mostly because you burn to a crisp if you set foot on one down here. However, while exploring, the group overhear that there's a demon attacking the town. You know how it is in JRPGs. And that's why Oscar, you know, the other half of the lovey-dovey siblings, is here. We finally find her friend named Grimoire, who seems a bit pensive on helping us.
How old are you?
Ask me again and you'll get a firework in the tush.
My apologies.
Laphicet begs her to decipher the book, and she reluctantly agrees, which is where we get the whole big info dump on the world and what the Abbey is actually trying to do. And that as well, bring back a god. Shocking for a church, I know. So from this drawing, we see Innominat here, with 7 mouths in the land. They suck up malevolence and send it through the earth pulses to the head. The mouths are called Therians, which I believe we have heard people call that a velvet. There also were these 4 elementals called Empyreans, along with all Innominat, and they were the ones who sealed the big boy away. But he didn't fully disappear. As long as someone keeps making Therians, aka Arthur, he can slowly keep eating till his eventual revival. So I guess as a Therian, that might have been why Arthur kept us down the well for 3 years to feed on demons. This also means that the bug and the griffin are Therians, and why the Abbey was guarding them. However, while we wait for Grimm to decipher more of the book, Laphicet senses that the nearby Abbey-run temple has the same vibes as the place with the beetle. So the gang go out to find another one of the Therians. And along the way we also hear that someone says a mother and her child went to the temple but haven't been seen in a while. Curious. Well, into the temple we go, which really reminds me of a Zelda dungeon with the water puzzles, but along the way we find a demon and a tree monster thing. However, after the battle it doesn't grow smaller unlike the beetle, and that wolf demon from earlier then comes running in, as if to protect it like a mother would. However, Eleanor kills the demon as is her job, and the Therian eats up the body. Well, that's nice. The tree turns into this little girl who sounds like...
Mommy, why? Why did you leave me all alone?
Anyway, we learn that she's the missing girl, and well, yeah, she ate her mother. Kind of like how Velvet ate Ceres. She also moans about how the Abbey made her like this. They turn people into demons on purpose, which shocks Eleanor, who put the final blow on the mother. Oscar then comes rushing in, and Eleanor pleads with him as to why her beloved Abbey would do such a thing to a family.
Be that as it may, those who possess strong wings must...
It's not nice to make a girl cry.
That's not gonna fly.
Velvet then fakes everyone out, pretending to eat the green girl, but she's like, yeah, I could have, but I can always eat her later. You know, after seeing the opening few hours, I just love that about Velvet. She puts on this edgy, hard exterior, but she still really is that kind girl from the start. Like, you can tell she's nowhere near giving into the darkness, and is just using it for her rightful vengeance. So the girl's name is Kamoana, and Eleanor takes a real liking to her, acting as her new mother, because her backstory also involved that kind of thing. And yay, we now have a bunch of Therians. Well, more if you count old Shadow the Hedgehog here. However, as we leave, for whatever reason, the townspeople near the temple all suddenly go to a furry convention. I mean, turn into demons. We fight our way out and get ready to leave, but old Grimm tells us one more big secret to the world that all the Malakim knew about. And that is, there is no curse or illness that turns people into demons, as we once thought. No, instead, every single human can actually turn into one if they let the evil in their heart overflow.
So malevolence is the darkness in all our hearts.
Is that a Kingdom Hearts reference?
Nope.
Eleanor says, wait, no, there were no demons at all before the opening. But nope, there were demons, but what humans would see were just violent people. Only after the opening they could see all of this. Eleanor then asks why a town like before would suddenly go bananas, and well, because we removed the Therian. You know, the person who would suck up the evil in the area to give to Innominat. Well, they ain't there anymore, and thus the evil in them exploded out. Hence the big conundrum, testing Velvet's humanity. If we want to stop Innominat, and thus thus be able to kill a weakened Arthur, then that means removing Therians, which means a lot of people are going to turn into demons. And a reminder, once they turn, they can't ever go back to being a human. But Velvet still pushes on, and Grimm joins us on our travels, not to battle obviously, but to decipher more of the book. And doing so, she says how, the Therians, you shouldn't kill them, because according to this, they will keep getting reborn into other creatures, so capturing them is the best bet. The gang then head to the crazy granny rebel leader, and she suggests hiding the Therian back at the prison we escaped from. It's the one place the Abbey doesn't control anymore since we started the riot, and there's still plenty of evil hanging around. She also had heard that the griffin in the villa had been removed somehow, and randomly, definitely not related to that last statement, our next job should be to escort this passenger safely. Now why does this bird look like that griffin? At any rate, we head back to the hideout, where Velvet reveals she's the other Therian.
Velvet, you're a Therian?
Lord Artorias would never have done such a thing. No. What's so unbelievable? That he used his wife's brother as a human sacrifice? That he imprisoned his wife's sister? Because that's what your damned holy shepherd did! All to get his hands on Inominat's power! I'm sure he had a reason for... A reason? To spare the world of its pain? Don't give me that! Who will spare my brother's pain? Who will soothe my brother's despair? He murdered my little brother Luffy! And you'll stand there and tell me it was for the greater good?!
And after some demon fighting, we finally claim the island as our secret hideout.
Hey, Rokuro.
Probably. I don't know. Bit drunk.
Just try not to go overboard.
Eleanor then realizes what terrible people the Abbey are, and that Arthur is a fraud, finally joining our team properly. No crazy schemes this time. So we set sail to find more of the Therians, but during a little fishing break, we find a pot.
An octopus army? A horde of undead? What the hell is this pot?
Magnificent. It looks like it could start moving at any moment.
It's finally decided to behave itself.
Wait, Velvet! Don't eat it!
It's a pot. I'm not gonna eat it.
And here we finally see Laphicet grow some emotion, as Velvet starts to call him Laffy, which is her nickname for her dead brother. This annoys the kid who doesn't want to be referred to as someone else.
But I know you're not the type to give up. Isn't that right, Fee?
Huh? Fee?
It's your nickname. Not a whole lot of thought put into it, but...
And finally, I can stop confusing you all and call him Fee. He's his own self now or something. With that naming mess up out of the way, we head to this big open field that I mentioned in the other video, where we can finally get a hoverboard. Yes, you can now travel in speed and style, but only in certain areas and only when you reach a geo tree. Yes, it's still very inconvenient, as I guess in any new areas, they don't want you zooming around missing the sights. So here we find a dragon who could be a Therian. Yep. A dragon. But shirtless with a shirt is here and tries to protect the dragon. However, it doesn't seem that it wants to be protected. Aizen then says that this is what happens at the end of a Malak life cycle. If they come in too much contact with malevolence, they transform into a dragon. And yeah, we did see that happen at the start of the game.
Go!
Also, by the way, I know it's pretty obvious, but the passenger's pet is that Griffin Therian, and his owner is actually the prince of the country, who more or less wanted to run away from the Abbey. So I guess it's a good thing he's coming with us, eh? Why don't you hide in our super secret base for a while?
I am, without a doubt, a cat person. Cats and witches have a long history together.
Personally, I prefer dogs because they can cohabit with humans while following rules. But I like cats too, because they're cute.
Actually, I like squirrels best. When I lived with my sister, the nearby forest had lots of nice, fluffy squirrels that would let me pet them.
This isn't about squirrels, it's about cats and dogs. You have to pick a side.
If I had to choose, yeah, it'd be cats.
What about you, Velvet? Cats or dogs?
Dogs. They don't betray you.
You always have to be so serious, don't you?
Well, then we roam some more and find the next Therian, a snake lady named Medusa. Bit subtle there, eh, game? She, however, doesn't want to join us since she likes the Abbey and willingly turned into a Therian. We, however, give her the mother-daughter guilt trip. It really seems to work in this game. And she goes with the group. Medusa now acts as Kamawa's mother since Eleanor is gallivanting with us. Well then, Velvet has some more crazy dreams, and they arrive at the Kingdom Hearts 3 looking place, which is on the way to Velvet's hometown, where the next Therian has been spotted. Velvet is like, no worry, it's been 3 years, but they won't recognize me there, because I ate them all. And this part leads to one of my favorites in the entire game, making our way home back to the abandoned village, because, well, it seems that it isn't really abandoned, isn't it?
My brother Laffy died.
I'm sorry. Truly, I am. But you can't lose hope, dear.
He's right. What counts is that your brother's still alive.
He's alive.
Yes, it looks like everyone is alive, including Laffy. The gang seems cautious, however, except for Velvet, who rushes in to see her brother.
You're warm. Laffy, you're really alive.
But it seems like he's been stuck in a coma since that night.
I still have to thank you for this comb after all.
I'm telling you, don't forget that comb, okay?
What's wrong, Laffy? You don't look like your usual perky self.
I'm okay. I'm just glad Velvet's alright.
What? Your name is Laffy too!
Yeah, this is a strange world, I know. So we walk around the village, soaking it all in, with Velvet slowly regressing to her usual cheery self from before, finally escaping those horrible 3 years.
She's...
The group, well, half are still suspicious, and the others are shocked at Velvet's change of personality. Well, there's still that. So Aizen and Rokuro find the Therian, but attacking it might bring the Abbey to the village, which Velvet doesn't want. And the village kinda wants her back as well. They don't care that she has a crazy demon hand, they just want it to be like old times. So she cooks up some food like before. Fee, however, notices the same book Grim has been decoding in Laffyset's room of all places, and an original one because theirs is only a copy. But Velvet doesn't care because her brother is alive, and that's all that matters. But remember how Velvet can't taste food as a demon? Well...
Maybe I made the pudding a little too sweet.
Velvet, how do you know what it tastes like? It's an illusion!
Yes, this whole thing was an illusion concocted by someone, and Velvet, angry as all hell, goes out to find the Therian. However, outside, the townspeople have stopped the other two from leaving, and Velvet finally admits that deep down, she really did want to return to this happiness. But no, she must not forget the pain, the suffering she and her brother felt at what Arthur did, and so...
So get out of my way! If you don't, I'll devour you again! Velvet. Why? Why must you do this? There we go. The truth at last!
We then make our way through and defeat the Therian, which were the dogs from the village turned demonic, and we bring them back to our base. Fee, however, says that we should go back to the house to grab that book, since it is an original and it might have more info that we need. Unfortunately, it seems that old Chubster has already nabbed it, and it was him who cast the town illusion spell on Velvet, and thus fleeing, it seems that all hope is lost. However, remember the comb? Well, back in the opening, Laffyset actually bought the comb by manually copying down every word from the book to then sell to this shop. And wouldn't you know, that copy is still sitting there since the owner is dead. And so with no time to waste, the gang rush back to give the book to Grim. And while this is happening, Arthur gives Oscar a new experimental art to use on a Therian to make up for his earlier mistakes. Teresa runs in and pleads with them to not go ahead with this dangerous, untested ability, but Arthur strips her of her malak and fires her from the church. However, while they all leave, Innominat is like,
Teresa, you said you wanted power, right?
oh boy, this can't be good. And it ain't no good, as the group sailing back find an idle ship where the crew have all succumbed to, you guessed it, the common cold. Teresa is also on board and warns us that Oscar is guarding the Therian, wielding some new powers. She offers herself as hostage so Oscar won't attack and we can grab the Therian, as Oscar is the only thing that matters to her. Velvet, who is also an extremely dedicated sister, agrees to help, gives her the medicine, and Teresa leads them to the Earth Pulse point. And I gotta say, oh my goodness, this place was too big and long, and the backtracking if you wanted to get all the items was insane. But regardless, we make our way through.
I've never been able to figure out why boys are so drawn to these things.
So we make it to Oscar and the Therian.
Teresa, get back!
However, Teresa has other plans, as she knows what running away from the Abbey means, and so with Innominat's help, fuses with the Therian. Well, I'm not complaining, but we easily defeat her, and Oscar jumps in to save his sister by using that new art Arthur gave him.
Take a good look! This is armatization.
By the way, if you've played Zestiness, this makes a whole lot more sense. So he fused with the Malak, turning into Super Saiyan Oscar! Yeah, that doesn't really roll off the tongue, unlike in DBZ. Now this was one of the tougher fights out there, but well, 4 against 1, we all win. However, Oscar powers up even more, and well...
You killed him. No, he was a good kid. You killed my Oscar! How could you? How could you? How could you? No!
Don't do it!
Oscar came at him first. I had to. It was for Luffy. For my little brother.
Good to know the sadness was good for all of our leveling up. So yes, the siblings are dead. Velvet, however, who I told you isn't as edgy as you think,
I killed her brother before her very eyes.
It's not the same.
It is the same! But I didn't have any choice! It was the only way to avenge you! It was all for you! I did it for you! I didn't want this!
You alright?
I ate too much. That's all.
that's our Velvet. But suddenly the group get word that the Abbey is storming our secret base, because we conveniently brought all the Therians into one place, and as we arrive to battle church members who fuse with their Molochs. I will say, big spoilers endgame stuff from here on out. Yes, I won't talk about everything and every character, but from here on they could be considered big spoilerino stuff, so skip here if you want to avoid that. We round up the Therians and have Dial Boy set sail with them to safety. However, Grimm deciphered the end of the book and begs them to turn back for us. us, as we are just about escaping.
You're running.
When we come face to face with Arthur. However, he don't like getting his hands dirty and summons an Omenat just like that.
What?
Hello, sister. Did you miss me?
The awakened Inominat will suppress all negative emotions. He will remake humanity into beings free from sin.
So we'll point out that this isn't Laphicet. He's still dead, Inominat just taken his form and memories. And as the Malak of Suppression, Arthur brought him to remove humans of emotions, as that could be the one way to stop malevolence being formed, creating the demons. So Inominat goes to try to devour them all.
Everything I did for you. How could you do this to...
Thank you. It's because of what you've done that I need to make amends. You've hurt so many people, and all for nothing.
You can't. Poppy!
Unfortunate.
But thanks to Fee, they are saved, but still stuck inside the big boy, which is actually the Earth Pulse like before, as the suppression god is part of the land. And Velvet, well...
All for nothing. I can't. I have to kill. Die.
The whole time, she...
You're awake. Come on, we're leaving. I have to kill them.
This is fine. Yes, this is fine. So the group meet up with each other, and all the while these memories of the past haunt Velvet, even showing how her sister ended up meeting and marrying Arthur, because yes, that's how Arthur originally came into the family. And so we see another cutscene, showing the first Scarlet Night, where we learn that the Malak have an interesting way of being brought into the world, with human sacrifice and being reincarnated from their souls. So due to an unfortunate incident, the sister Celica and her unborn son died that day, but because it was on a Scarlet Night, it allowed the Malak of Ceres and Fee to be reborn from their souls. So yes, that Ceres Velvet 8 who freed her from the prison was a Malak from her dead sister, and Fee is the Malak made from the child of her and Arthur. Then with Melchior's meddling, Arthur begins his steps to free the world of human emotion, and listens to old Chubster to revive Inominat, setting up the plans he has for Velvet and Laphicet. We then see another cutscene with Laphicet and Arthur, with the former reading that book and learning about the ritual, that in order to resurrect the suppression god, you need 2 pure souls, and one was sacrificed that night, being the unborn child. This only half awakened Inominat, which allowed people in the world to finally see the demons. He then says a shocking twist, that the reason he coughed so much was because he's actually really sick and will die soon, meaning he actually offered himself up for sacrifice to Inominat the day he died in front of Velvet. He knew what Arthur wanted to do, and they both did this behind Velvet's back. And she, well... I mean, who could blame Velvet? Her life was just misused by Arthur for his own goals. And perfect timing for all Inominat to come barging in. And I know you're wondering that he still needs another pure soul to be fully revived, so this is him at, say, only 75% full power. He manipulates Velvet, saying how it is all for nothing. You killed so many people for no reason. You're nothing but a monster. And Velvet, in her state, gives up and lets him go to devour her. Fee, on the other hand, grabs onto her.
Let me go.
Will you stop whining?
So Velvet finally snaps out of it and realizes none of this revenge was pointless. Her whole life was taken away by Arthur, and all these memories of fun were real, and that is the reason why she must continue on. So the group managed to knock out Inominat and break free back to the world.
Now, say ah.
Huh?
I need to see your teeth.
Get to see it ain't all doom and gloom here. The endgame then turns into a more stopping Inominat from suppressing all emotions. It's still about revenge, but the plot revolves more about saving the world kinda deal. I did see a few people who didn't really like the story, how it went from here, but I didn't mind. I mean, all the characters still were doing this for their own selfish goals, which I love about them. None of these characters are wholly good, but still band together to take down Inominat, as the outcome will benefit themselves. And as such, the best way is to resurrect the other 4 strong Malak Malaks, the Elemental Empyreans. Doing so will stop Innominats enhancing the powers of the Abbey, and also leading the humans to lose their abilities to see the Malaks and demons. Grim says to awaken them you need 4 souls, and well, Velvet's belly is full of church people she ate, so good time to not let them go to waste. But to do that, we have to go to a northern volcano, release the souls into it to awaken the 4 at once. But while this happens, Innominat starts to exert his suppression, where people all around the world begin to lose their will and become mindless zombies. The group press on, reaching the cold north.
Sorry everyone. No sneezes here. I'll practice for next time.
Good grief.
By the way, yes, I love this place so much. Save me from the Australian summer.
Nope.
However, Velvet casually mentions, oh yeah, by the way, I only have 2 souls in me, Oscar's and Teresa's, so we still kinda need 2 more, and the group decide that Rokuro's brother and Melchior will be fine for that. Also, Magilu seems, fine in this cold.
So cold.
And thus the group get ready, while also taunting the 2 commanders out to the volcano. Grim then tells them one final thing, that the reason Arthur did all of this to Velvet was because Innominat needed an 8th Therian, and one that was filled to the brim with despair, which is why he did all this to her, to try and break her down with pure hatred. But finally the group take down Rokuro's brother, and then Melchior at the top of the volcano. Velvet grabs the souls and summons the 4 Empyreans, who awaken and shoot up to the heavens, at a place where Innominat and Arthur lay in wait.
And yes, you know what this means.
It's time for the JRPG Final Battle in the Heavens. But let me grind for a bit first.
Oh, good evening. Lovely weather, isn't it?
It really talked! I can't believe it. Something I eat can talk?
Huh?
Also, yes, I did some side quests. But finally, we head to the pyramid where Innominat left a teleportation art for us to use, since, you know, he still wants to devour us. So up we go into the final area. And man, oh man, this place was tough. But on the other hand, it gave me one of my favorite lookouts ever in a game. Well, until a certain other one. And so after 2 full hours of grinding and getting lost up here, we reach the top. And so, with our strength built up, we easily win. One sec. So we win, but cutscene time, Velvet uses the comb to her advantage, and Arthur realizes there's no despair left in her. So instead, he offers himself up to Innominat, fusing together through amortization for the final fight. I will say though, this was insanely easier than before since we all could gang up on him and not have to fight 2 at once. Thus, we win. Velvet drags Innominat out of him and finally gets her revenge on Arthur.
Spoken like a true hero.
It's over.
No, it ain't, Dolphin Boy, because Innominat is still alive, and hungry as ever for malevolence. But Velvet, in the most unique ending to a JRPG yet, sacrifices herself, feeding Innominat but also draining him, together forever with her brother, stopping him from destroying the world, both gone from this place. But now, with this imbalance, the Empyreans tell the group that they need a new person to take his place, and obviously it's gonna be Fee. He accepts removing the malevolence from people's hearts. However, it's not all gone, as people with extreme sin still remain demonic like Rokuro here, and with the church not being able to control or see the Malakim, evil still grows in the land. It's not a normal happy JRPG ending, and I mean it sets up the world nicely for tales of zestiness, because humans have their will back, their freedom to fix their sins if they want, and not to be tormented at a future demon life. Also, Fee is now a dragon because why not? And his new name being Maltalis. So the end credits roll and we see Velvet and Laphicet together forever. Rokuro putting his sword to good use, Aizen back with his ship, Eleanor helping with the rebuilding effort, and Magilu being the scribe, writing down all what happened for future people. And thus, we end the game. Oh boy, what a different kind of ending. I mean, that's one thing I love about this game, is that it's nowhere near as conventional as other JRPGs, with the main cast not all being goody-goody, and the ending not being as cliche. I know this sounds random, but it actually reminds me of a certain other game I may talk about at some point. But regardless, this game was so amazing from start to finish, and one of my all-time favorites. I loved everything about the characters, the world, its design. I think this has to be one of the better realized JRPG worlds out there, plus the combat combat was so fun and engaging. One of the few games I actually loved grinding for. The voice acting also was superb. I mean, one of the best voice directions in a game, bar one. And not to mention the mechanics of customization being the cherry on top. I know some people might think I only love this game because of that, but no, it's the added extra that makes the game feel oh so much more personal. I also love how this didn't feel like a standard JRPG by the end, and it's a big reason why I use it as the standard I enjoy JRPGs at. You know, it's kinda sad that because this game came out in January of 2017, it was forgotten and overshadowed by so many other amazing games that came out just a few months afterwards. I highly recommend it. If you ever heard of the Tales of series, it's a perfect jumping in point. Or if you're just looking for a fun action JRPG, then please try it out for yourself. And with such a recent great entry in the series, you don't know how unbelievably hyped I am for the next one, Tales of Arise. Easily my most anticipated game of 2020. Just keep the customization the same, okay Bandai, please, thank you. And I mean, technically this game is a prequel to Tales of Zestiness, and somehow my review on it disappeared from the channel, so who knows? I might have to look at it again once more. Wait, there's Evangelion outfits for it? Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Trojan, RamZaes, Magnum, Sheik!